We're live. We're here.
Yes.
Michelle. Woo! I feel like this has just been the culmination. Like this is the we're in the rare air today. We're on the mountaintop, my friend.
Ooh, there is no place I would rather be than on a mountaintop with you, my friend.
Same. I love to hike. That's one of my jams. And it's just been one of the greatest journeys in my life to take what I've learned and be able to really transform it into something that is usable and really strategic for other people. So we are super excited that you're all here, that everyone in the audience is joining us. If you're here live, let us know in the chat, say hello. We are really here to connect because Michelle and I decided from the very beginning, we are not doing this like everybody else does it. How do you feel about that, Michelle?
Oh, 100%. In fact, when Carol Jean and I first started this whole launch process, I was like a deer in headlights. I was like, what? Do people actually read all that crap? Why do we need to say all this? And what do you mean a funnel and a nurture and the steps? And when I started building it, I had a moment of energy where I was like, this isn't me. I know this is how everybody else does it. Is it okay that we like take some shortcuts? And I don't mean shortcuts like, oh, I don't want to put in the work to do it. It's just our energy needs, like, people need to connect with us. And I am so proud of how in tune and in flow we've been through this whole process. And so if you've noticed a difference or you haven't noticed emails and this, or you want more, today's the day when you find out we're doing this differently and it's in flow. And if that's your vibe, we're your vibe. If you want 18 emails with all the information, you may not get enough out of us, and that's okay. That's why you're here today live. So I am so grateful that we're doing this differently in our way. And I think trusting human design is a way of feeling really grounded that the right people will be attracted to the way we do things. So I'm super jazzed.
I am too, because you and I were both like, wait a minute, this does not feel good. This is not us.
Yeah.
What's important to us? We want to make sure we're having real conversations, real connection. Nobody needs to be like bombed in their inbox. So you've gotten
Yeah.
some things to get you here to let you know it's happening. And we've got some stuff we're going to be sharing with you that's coming up that's part of our free series for you to come and experience us. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But this is really about doing it the way that Michelle and I feel like we're modeling a whole new way of sharing things. And so we're really excited that you're here because today we're opening something that has been years in the making, decades actually. And it's designed to meet you at the depth of what you've been carrying and all of the things that have been happening in your life, in your leadership, in your evolution as a woman, because I really feel like we are collectively stepping into this very powerful place of women in leadership. Michelle, what do you think on that?
I mean, every time that I sent out an email, some tagline came to me. Leadership is evolving. We are all doing the hard things and we're showing up as half of ourselves. And that's not right for anybody. It's not good for us. And it's not good for the teams that we lead, right? There are times when I was in my shadow self or my not self or my triggered self. I'm not proud of who that leader was, right? Doesn't mean that I wasn't doing the best I could. It means I wasn't showing up as my whole self because I wasn't in an environment where I could. I couldn't show up as my whole self. And so, whether you're in an environment or not, you can only control you, right? And so, what we're building and how we're attacking some of this leadership is saying that leadership is evolving. You can only control you, how you show up, how you set boundaries, how you stand in your power. That is all you can control. And how do you get to the point where you know your boundaries, you know your voice, you know those things? How do you know that? Right? I don't even think I knew how to get out of that until my human design and getting into that well being. And that's where leadership is headed and why I'm just so thrilled with what we've created.
It's one of those things too where I feel like I wanted to bring myself, my whole self, into my
Yeah.
own life, and at least the parts that I felt were appropriate at work. And but in
Yes.
my regular life, I wanted to bring my whole self, but I didn't know who
Mhm.
my whole self was for a long time. I felt like I had people pleased and been deferential to everyone else and had taken on the persona of who I thought they wanted me to be. And therefore, I
Mhm.
had lost myself in the process. And I
Oh,
know that that's something that so many of us have experienced. And it's why we created this. Michelle,
yeah.
share why we created this.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful tie-in that I love is like, do you show up as your whole self at work, at home, a version of both? Like, but how do you do that if you don't know who your whole self is, right? And you're exactly right, and that so perfectly leads into why we created this is as we're seeing women struggling, we're seeing women at high levels, a lot of success, a lot of weight on their shoulders, but we're carrying the weight that nobody sees. And then we go home and we try to be the wife, the mother, the person, the spouse, or just a good dog mom. We just need to go home and be a person. And we were carrying these silent costs that others were suffering from, or we were just keep bearing it down and bearing it down. Either way, the weight has been silent. We're also seeing that the capacity, like our visions and what we want to do is outpacing our capacity to do it. And that leads to guilt. That leads to frustration. That leads to our not self. That leads to things where we're like, I don't know why I can't do it all. I don't know why there's no balance. I don't know why there's no this. And all the buzzwords start coming in. And yet we don't get out of the spiral, right? Women are managing in like invisible labor, high responsibilities, emotional clarity. We are carrying so much baggage for ourselves, for others, for our teams. And baggage can be good because it's like, hey, we're carrying this, we're doing our responsibility, but at some point the backpack gets heavy and we need a place to put it down, right? We need a safe place, we need a container. And so we built this intensive to do that. We built this intensive to say, let's breathe together. Let's maybe even cry together, but in a very powerful release way of I am ready for more. I'm ready to be the whole leader. I'm ready to be me. I'm ready to just, oh, I got goosebumps, like stand in this powerful self that I know I am. I'm just not her yet. And for those people, that is why we created it. I get so lit up inside when I talk about it because it's like, that's the girl. I want to be that person, right? I want to be who that feels like when I say it, but I don't know how, Carol Jean, right? And that's when I met you. And you gave me a lens of well being, which is the whole body, self, mind. I'm going to get ahead because I'm so excited. But like, it's not wellness, it's well-being. And that is also why it's created. What would you like to add to that? Because, oh, I could go on about this part forever. Like, this is
Okay,
so
so the tingles, right? The
good.
truth tingles, as we call them.
Uh,
Yes. And one of the most beautiful things I think is when we do pause because we have taken on so much baggage. And oftentimes we're carrying loads that aren't ours, but we've picked them up and we've got a backpack on and we've got a duffel in each hand and we've got one slung over the shoulder that keeps slipping off, but we're still going uphill in this, in the rocky ground in our high heels
Yep.
because we care. We have picked those things up, and a lot of reasons usually is because we care. Things and people matter to us, but we didn't stop to say, is this really mine to pick up? Or is it time to put it down?
Mhm.
And that's really what you and I came together because we saw how beautifully the research that I've done over the last 4 years into women's stress, burnout, and well being, when we paired it with that deeper layering, that really surgical precision of human design, there was something that expanded exponentially. And
Mhm.
it brought things together where there's so much efficiency, there's so much clarity. We cut through so much noise and fog. And that's why we created this.
Mm. So, so beautifully said.
So there's some truth telling that Michelle and I like to do
Mm-hmm.
because we've been there.
Yes.
We've been at the upper levels in corporate. We have had the teams. We've been running the house, being the wife, being the mom, being the dog mom, the chief cook, bottle washer, and report filer, KPI checker. We've done those things. And we know there's sometimes some harsh truths, but they're the truths that free us. And some of the things that we hear so many executive women say to us is, I'm functioning, but I'm not 100. Like, it's not feeling like it used to. Or I'm feeling super clear. Like, you look at me on paper, I am on point, but I'm feeling a little foggy inside, a little unclear. And I want clarity. Or I know what to do, but I can't keep doing it this way. It's like I can see what maybe needs to shift. And here's the real hard truth, and this is my loving share here. The truth is, sleeping more, eating better, and exercising all help, but they don't solve the real core problems. Because if they did, you wouldn't be feeling the way you feel. You wouldn't feel like this isn't quite it yet. I'm not quite there yet. And it's because that is just a superficial Band-Aid. And what we're doing in this work together is we're getting to the why. We're getting to the deep core root, the drivers, the things that started at age 4 that we've carried. And maybe it's time to put it down. Because this is not mindset problems. This is not a discipline problem, because you are ultimate in discipline. Like, you got your workout routine, you got your morning routine, you got your bedtime routine. You are disciplined. Your mindset, you are reading, you are consuming the things, you are practicing.
Yeah.
This is not what this is. This is physiology, complexity, and your unique human design.
And Geraldine, I'm gonna add that, like, I've done the retreats. I've done the workshops. I've done the summits. They're amazing. Like, there's no shade there. They're amazing. But I couldn't take in half of the content that was being thrown my way because I wasn't there yet, right? I was mentally either not at an expansive enough place to take it all in, or I just got back and went back to the grind. And I think what I learned from you and why this is so uniquely positioned for us is we're not another framework. We're not another retreat or workshop. They're already out there and they're amazing. Like, I've been to them. They're amazing. But if you can't show up as your whole self, are you going to get the ROI, right? The return on investment. In fact, I have a lot of people that will go to one retreat and be like, I didn't really get anything out of it. Yes, you did. But you didn't, you would have gotten more if you showed up as your whole self, right? And so often it's like, oh my God, I just can't wait for that next thing that you know is going to be amazing and you believe in, but you showed up as a skeleton version of yourself, right? And I remember there was a key moment when we were working together, Carol Jane. And I was like, I've done the mindset work. I'm doing meditation. I'm doing the deep work. I'm trying to take the walks. And then somebody had a buzzword that I didn't really understand, truthfully, is I feel like your nervous system is off. And I had a moment, I was like, what's my nervous system actually? Like, I know it, but when you said it, I kind of felt like I don't know how to fix that. And it was all these 4 R's we're going to talk about today. And so what I feel like this is it's like putting a piece of you back so that everything else that you invest in, your life, your home, the next professional investment you make, you are going to get so much more out of it because you are putting more into it when you show up. I always say when people like join communities or new things, like, how do I maximize it? I'm like, you get what you put into it. So if you're showing up to these big things and you're not getting out what you thought, maybe it's because you're not putting your whole self in. So I think that's a hard truth that a lot of people need to hear is you're showing up expecting that to fix things, and you're really fixing is more foundational.
1000%. And it was one of the core reasons that you and I said, this is really important, because you and I both had experienced going to the big leadership development program. You know, their company's sponsoring us and they're going, we're sending you, we see this potential for the next level. And we're like, yes. And we show up, but we show up as a lesser energized and embodied version of ourselves. And so we're just trying to optimize and make the best of it. But we don't have all the resources that we really could have. And then if we'd been able to show up in full restoration and full embodiment and full alignment, holy cow. I look back and I'm like, I would have totally rocked that. But instead I walked away with, you know, here's a couple of notes and I'm going to try and implement this. And then stuff kind of falls apart along the way, right? Best of intentions. So really, Michelle and I think of this program and this LPI, and it's really not a program, it's a transformation of reclamation. And it is your insurance policy on everything else that you do going forward in your life, whether it's professionally or personally, because truly that's what we want. We want to elevate. And my mission in life every day, my truth here is that I want to see more restored and embodied and empowered women leading, because what is possible for humanity when we are showing up as our best.
So good. So good.
Michelle, share with us the experience, what LPI actually is.
You know, I gotta say, the way that you and I came together to collaborate on this has just been so natural and in flow. And I'll be honest, it wasn't planned, right? Like my book launched yesterday, and I literally was like, wait, I have a launch and I have a book. And it was literally this beautiful flow of everything is coming together exactly how it was meant to be, because I surrendered to the how. Right? I surrendered to how is this all going to come together? People are like, wow, you are killing it now. You got a book, you got this. I'm like, actually, that all came together because I let go of how it was going to all come together. Right. And so I think when you and I came together, it was like human design is what I teach, and it is so powerful. But I won't want to teach you how to learn human design. I don't want to teach you human design. I want to teach you the unlocks, the transformation I've had through the insight of how to be a projector, how to be confident, how to use my voice, right? All of those things come out of your chart, right? And so as I was teaching classes, at the end of it, every time I was having people say, oh, okay, this is great. I love it. But can you do a reading for me? And I'd be like, but I'm teaching, this is early days, I'm teaching you human design. You should be able to connect the dots. And it was this kind of these beautiful moments of me being like, oh, Michelle, nobody wants to learn human design. They just want to learn how it's going to transform their life, right? And so over the last 6 months, what I started teaching is how to use human design in your real life. And I still got the questions. Okay, great. But can we still just talk about me? Right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing something. I'm not meeting people where they're at. I'm giving them what they need, but they're telling me they want something different. Right? And then and you've been in so many of my classes, Carol Jean, and we talked about this after, I'm like, I'm not giving people what they want. And yet I need to protect my energy and give them what I know is going to transform them. But what does that look like? Right? And honestly, that's where this was born, because now the experience is you get me one-on-one. You get Carol Jean one-on-one. And ladies, we are doing an intensive. We call it an intensive for a reason. It's a little intense in the best way, because you're ready to transform. You're not just going to attend my human design class every week for an hour and then go back to your life and think, I got this. You are going to learn, not only Carol Jean will talk about, the phases, you will learn about your well-being, and we have assessments for that. We'll get into that in the diagnostic. But you are going to dive so deep into your human design of a way that you get me one-on-one. I am your private VIP. Again, I'm not your coach. I am your partner. I am here to say, you want rest? Here's what that looks like in your chart. Because Michelle, I recharge in valleys wide. What the hell does that mean, Michelle? Oh, I know what that means now. It means I need to be in big open spaces with people and energy, and that feeds my projector energy. That's where I recharge. So if you're needing a zone of rest and you don't know one of your 6 or 12, depending on the variations, right? You don't know where you recharge, how you digest properly. These are really tangible things that I can say, you know what, Michelle, you need to eat in peace and quiet. that is how you're going to rest. It's how your body is going to absorb the nutrients that it's supposed to get. Right. And so I could go on about this forever because it's so beautiful. But there's these VIP moments where I'm like, I need to go deeper with people, but I can't just go through every aspect of your chart. It's overwhelming. And truthfully, I don't actually think it's as transformational. But pairing it with what Carol Jean and the wellness, and we'll go through what we're doing, now I can unlock the life-changing insights specifically for you in the transformation zones that we've identified that match what we're talking about. And you finally get the VIP one-on-one you've been asking for. I'm giving you what you need, not what you asked for. And this is the first time that I've ever done a VIP human design exclusive access to me in a non-teacher way. And I mean that in the most beautiful way of saying, this is how you transform. And this is why we came together. That is the experience that I want you to feel when you're in this is brand new information that I'm plugging into a self that now I see myself for the very first time. A lot of people say that when they read their human design is like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm seeing myself for the first time, right? And it's a validation of I got this. So what about you, Carol Jean? What part of the experience are you excited to share?
I mean, just the creation of this was so heart-centered because we did look at that, and it's like, I know from my research, women come in and they think they need better sleep hygiene. They need less stress in their life, all of the things that we hear
Yep.
everyone talking about. But I know from my research, because I have one of the largest in-depth qualitative and quantitative research studies into women's stress, burnout, and well-being. And I know what the 6 drivers are, because if we don't get to the why, then how do we ever truly solve and stop band-aiding? And so the Leadership Performance Intensive evolved as this 4-week recalibration for women leading at the highest level. This is exceptionally high touch, and this is deeply personalized because no two people are the same. And I know from my own experience, having gone through decades of some level of burnout, and a burnout that was so intense and it had been going on for so long that it escalated, and it sent me as a hospital administrator into my own emergency department. And I completely lost the use of my body for almost 3 years. And I had 2 small kids and a husband overseas at the time. This was not a good look. This was not working. And so what I have found through my research and what I created as a result that I brought together with what Michelle does in human design for that surgical precision is I have built a full diagnostic suite that identifies leadership stress profiles, complexity levels, sleep style, and so much more. And it comes together in a customized well-being blueprint. And Michelle brings her leadership report, her Atlas code from human design. And we take these and they come together, and we do a 2-day live immersion where we're doing everything and going specifically into what everyone in the room, what your chart says, what it means for you, what you do and how you do it. We create an entire step-by-step plan for you. And we have an integration session that comes after, and we'll get into these in a minute, but it's those elements because each person is different. And I can't talk to one person and say, oh, this is the thing that you're going to need. It's internal emotional safety and self-trust. That's going to be your solution. And go to the next person and go, okay, well, this is the same thing for you. But the person says, no, I don't feel like I belong to myself. That's really the thing that's driving everything else. So we got to get to the root, the deeper why. And that's what this LPI is doing. And it's doing in this very high touch, ultra customized and personalized experience. Michelle?
Yeah. And this is what I would have wanted, right? Looking back, I think we created what we didn't see. We created what would have been a successful process that we're like, wow, if I had gone in and done things like this, if I had connected all these dots in this way, it doesn't mean it's the easy button, right? But if I just drip this information to you over email or months at a time, you're not going to get the clarity that you will have coming out of what we're building. And that's why we put it in this 4-phase structure. It's like, how do we reach people at a cellular level that impacts them? But it's not just about, okay, great, I feel better. Now, it's about the impact you have because your nucleus is now glowing and lit up inside and you're on fire for life. You're going to have these external factors that I want to say they're going to like be surprised, but they shouldn't be. Because when you show up as a better version of yourself, all of a sudden the external factors, your performance starts getting better. Your kids start this. You start feeling like, I got this, right? And I think so much of that is why we built what we built, kind of the way we did with the 4 R's.
Yeah. And this 4-phase structure kicks off in phase 1. And this is where we dive in and we collect the data. I'm a science girl. I live in the world of science and well-being science and research. And so phase 1 is where you're going to take all of the diagnostics, and it's one long form that takes each one of those elements we discussed, and we are pinpoint accuracy pulling out where you are right now. What is your stress? How is that stress driving your complexity level? What does that look like? How is that impacting your sleep? And how is that showing up in how you connect with other people? What type of masking styles are showing up? What is your spicy pepper level? That is cognitive load. How is your brain actually operating? So this diagnostic, which takes about an hour, is pinpoint accuracy. And it's so customized. It is exactly what is happening for you right now. Because then Michelle takes your human design and she says, now we're going to pull out the components so we can put together that strategic step-by-step. And it's truly beautiful. So we have the well-being index, and we're going to talk about those 4 R's in a minute. But one of those is risk, because everything that is not serving us is also causing a drain. And I have a risk index, and each one of the types of stress and sleep, every single thing that we're looking at has a risk index ranking so that we know exactly which one is most important for you. So we're cutting through the noise and we're getting clarity very fast. And it comes together in the blueprint, which says, this is the highest risk area. This is the second highest risk area. These are your strengths. Because when we operate from where your strengths are, Michelle brings in some more clarity with strengths and says, hey, this is how we're going to optimize what you already have. Because if you feel depleted, it's real hard to draw from an empty tank. So we're going to start with what you already have, because we're doing this from a quantum atomic level of transformation. And Michelle has this phenomenal leadership profile, and we put these reports together. You're going to get them right before, a few days before we do our 2-day immersion together, so that you can read through them, begin to digest them. And when we get live together, that's where it's all going to take its next step. Michelle?
Yeah. And just to add to that, what I love about human design is, you've done all of the surveys and the quizzes and the things. And for those of you who don't know what human design is, it's the science of differentiation. It is based on your birth date, time, and place. So it's not self-reported, right? It's not, oh, well, today I feel like this, and I'm going to try to trick the Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram or whatever. Like, those are self-reported, very directionally accurate, not knocking any of them by any means. I've learned a lot through them. The human design is not self-reported. It is based on your soul's blueprint, right? It's based on, there's a mix of astrology, the I Ching hexagrams, the chakras, and then the quantum physics. So what Carol Jean is talking about is this is all very quantum interconnected. When you fix this and you raise it, everything raises together. Everything moves around the nucleus in a very 5-dimensional kind of way. And so that's what I love about human design is you can self-report out on these things that you're stressing about. But based on who you are at the cellular level, how do we attach that amount of info to the problem-solving solutions we give you? That's why it's like customized up front, customized to who you are, things that I guarantee you don't know. I had no idea that my digestion was eating in peace and quiet. I have 3 boys. I am a single mom. That was not a thing. And now I understand why I was bloated, why I had these things. I never would have figured that out on my own. I would have thought I had to cut out carbs or this or that. And so these customized nuances from human design pair so beautifully with what we created on these reports. Your mind is going to be blown on the inside. I don't think you've been exposed to before.
The depth is truly where we wanted to make sure that everyone had exactly what they needed, but probably the things they didn't know they needed. So in that phase 2-day live immersion, Michelle, what is everyone going to experience in those 2 days? They've got their reports. They're like, whoa, oh my gosh, I there's a lot of validation in these. I get so much head nodding, right?
Yes. We're going to go deeper on what it all means, because we're not going to try, like to say, we don't boil the ocean. We like to say, these are the things that we're working on. These are the things that are most important to you and where to find it on your chart. And we call it the intensive because we're going to be there to hold your hand. We are going to walk through it together. We are going to talk about what they all mean. Absolutely. So that you understand, what is my spleen, fear center? Where is my throat communication? Well, hold on. What are you talking about here? We're going to go deep on that, but not in a level of education, in a level of application. We are going to teach you how to apply it. Okay. I teach human design every Tuesday, and I pick a topic and I talk about all the things. We're not talking about all the things. We're talking about your specific thing, right? And as I look at everyone's charts, because we're keeping this very intimate for a reason, I'm only going to talk about what applies to the group. So I'm not going to talk about everything. I have other sources for that. We are going to make this so specific, so laser focused, that you are going to take this information. You're going to know how to recalibrate, right? You're going to tweak and be like, okay, I know that I'm not working in an environment. My perspective is off. Oh, wow. My throat center. I now understand how to communicate more effectively, right? I know how to stand in my power. Maybe I've learned a little bit about how my perception is coming across to others, right? Your aura and your type. We're going to learn all of that in this intensive to recalibrate. And then we're going to reclaim some of our identity through it. We're going to reclaim our power. We're going to say, this is me. I am Michelle. I am a 5-1 projector. And again, these are like some words you may not know yet, but I wait for invitation, because that is how much I value my wisdom. It's not for everybody. Like Taylor Swift says, my energy is expensive. Not everybody can afford it, right? And as a projector, she's a 5-1 projector, so am I. We have a lot of commonalities. Hey, Tay, right? Like, we have a lot of those common things of like, yeah, actually my energy is expensive. It is not for everybody. And it is also not for everybody because I'm not a vibe match, right? And that is what's so important about you experiencing Carol Jean and I together. We don't spoon feed you the information. We fully integrate it in ways that you already self-reported and self-identified as issues walking into this, right? And so you're just going to walk away being able to recalibrate, to reclaim. And there's just so much more. Carol Jean, what do you want to add to that? Because I am getting too excited.
I cannot wait for this. I mean, the magic that's going to happen with 11 women in the room who are all there, and we're being very intentional. This is experiential, because not only are we going to be applying, we're going to be uncovering, we're going to say, okay, this is what this is for you. This is why things show up this way. And then we're going to integrate the experiences in it through the Rapid Recharge Lab. And we'll do some nervous system regulation, but we're going to do also some alignment work to make sure that all of those parts of you are coming together in that whole self that we talked about, that whole self of well-being. You are going to be able to walk out of this not only having some deeper insight and very strategic knowledge, surgical precision on how you're going to go forward, but you're also going to have the tools, but the experience to know what the difference feels like for you.
So good.
And this was really important to you and I. Phase 3, which is the integration weeks, the 2 weeks after the program. So it's 4 weeks total, and we have the diagnostic, which happens before you get in the room. Phase 2, which is when we come together for those 2 full days of immersion. And then phase 3 is the 2 weeks following it. And this is where you're going to meet with Michelle and I and schedule your one-on-one. So with me, we'll go into your well-being and bring in those aspects that around your stress and your complexity, because through the unveiling method, we have a very clear plan how that meets each one of those risk categories. And then in this phase 3 integration week, you're going to meet with Michelle one-on-one, and she's going to go into those parts of the human design that are the ones that you feel you are most drawn to aligning, and really cover those. And in this, we're also going to have 2 live Q&A sessions, because part of taking information in and also experiencing information is allowing your entire self to process the information. And we allow that because from a neuroscience and stress point learning perspective, we have to be able to process, realign the new parts, regulate, digest, and then get a little clarity, because you're going to have some more questions as you start to apply some things. So we have 2 of those live Q&A sessions with Michelle and I together, so that you get that double power of everything that we're bringing together. Michelle, what do you want to add to that one?
What I'll add to that is this is where you're going to feel so held and supported, because you are going to be in an intimate setting to be like, I do not know what this means, or I need to go deeper, because the deeper questions you have, your soul is calling you to ask. And you have both Carol Jean and I there to share all of our superpowers with you. And guys, some of this is deeply intuitive. As a 5/1 projector, I see what you don't see. It is a gift I have. I want to share it with you, but it takes a lot of my energy to do that, because I see capacity in you. I look at your chart and I see magic. I see this ignited being with all this potential. Please, it's like an oracle, like ask me anything, because oh my God, I could go on for hours about what I see in front of me in this chart. But what do you want to know? And that's going to pull that information that connects exactly what you need to hear to your soul. And it's just such a beautiful customized way, because a lot of times Q&A is, they feel like people are getting too tactical. None of what we do in this intensive is tactical, right? You do the intensive, we do the integration, and then we're there to support you. It is literally so VIP and so lovingly held. I can't wait to see whose energy I have the honor of being in with. That is truly what I mean. It's going to be really magical. And it's also a really heavy, beautiful, intuitive lift on Carol Jean and I. And that's why we are treating this so exclusively, beautifully intimate, because you're getting our gifts as well. And I think, to me, that is something that people have been asking for, and I just didn't know how to give it. I'm like, well, I could do a reading, but I get so exhausted at the end of it. This is a container for all of that energy. And it's just so expansive. I can't even begin to tell you how beautiful it's going to be in these intimate one-on-one and the Q&A breakouts. And you are going to bond with other people that we are calling the energy in together to this container. The magic of retreats and cohorts and this kind of thing is something that is only created by each of you saying yes to what you're hearing and being like, I've always wanted to learn more about my human design. And you know what, Michelle, you're right. A reading is probably not enough. I want to be all in, right? I have people that go, I want to be all in. I'm like, well, this is your all in moment, right? And so again, Carol Jean, you got to stop me, because I could go on forever. That's what I would add, is just how beautiful this is going to be. And I am so lit up inside for the first time about doing things one-on-one. It feels so aligned with my 5/1 energy that I'm just so grateful for those of you that are going to step into this container with us.
That is truly, I got the truth tingles, because that is our heart. It's like, we cannot wait for the women that come into this, because there's only 11 seats. It is the smallest, most intimate, luxury level, customized program you will ever come across, Because when we look at development programs across the board, be it Yale leadership, if you're doing the in-person, you're going to Stanford or Wharton, or you're going to Cambridge's program, all of those in the in-person have anywhere from 50 to 70 women in the cohort. If you go the online version, it's 200 to 300 in a cohort, and none of it is really allowing that space. And they're wonderful programs, and we want you to be able to go to those programs, even if you're in a cohort of 200 or in your in-person group of 50 to 70 people. You're the one showing up that's really taking it all in. You are optimizing that program in a way no one else is, because you came here first. Michelle and I say we're the prerequisite
Yeah.
any of these amazing programs that are out there, because there's truly are some spectacular development programs out there for leadership. But we know that there's so much more that can be gotten from them when you are first aligned in this way. And what's really beautiful is that we want to make sure that you are fully supported. And we even include these 30 days of support within a container, because this isn't just about you showing up. In that 2-day immersion, Michelle mentioned this, you are going to connect with other women who are on the same journey, who have the same heart, the same vision, the same intention of being at our very best to lead in a way that no one has been able to do before, because we've been carrying all that baggage. And so the women that you are going to connect with in community are also going to become parts of your network outside. How are you going to support one another going forward? You now know more about another person and know more about yourself. So this is really that follow-up to this, but it's the ripple effect that we're taking one woman to another, and women as a collective, as a community, how we go forward, which is really, truly something that means so much to how Michelle and I approach this. Michelle, let's talk about the 4 R's. We've mentioned these, we've dripped them out. Let's dive in.
I know. And those of you that know me or have followed me for a while know I like alliterations, I like visuals, and I like to just put it all together so that you see what you're going to get. And this is our vision. This is our hope. This is our dreams for you, because the 4 circles in the middle, right? The restore, recalibrate, reclaim, renew, that is the internal work. These are the buckets. These are the diagnostics. These are the things that you are going to learn about, right? I talked earlier, you're going to be able to take information, recalibrate. I know which environments I recharge. I know how to eat. I know what motivates me. I know where my wisdom is. I know my voice. I know my I know statements. I think, I love. You're going to know your I statements that are going to draw in the right energy and the right client and the right people that want to work with you and for you as a leader, right? You want to be so authentic as a leader that people want to work for you. But are you that leader today? I know in the past I wasn't, because there was environments I wasn't in the right environment or in the right energy, or didn't have truly the level of respect for my wisdom. And those are things that I'm not going to say they set you up to fail, but you're going to need some recalibration, and these are going to help you set those boundaries. Then you're going to be able to reclaim, this is who I am as a leader. This is what I stand for. These are my boundaries. And in a very beautiful way, where people start having another R we should put in here, respect. You're going to have another respect for yourself, for others. And it really is beautiful. And once you have these 4 R's in the middle, we'll talk about this at the end. The 4 R's around the outside are going to be the external facing in, like you're going to work inside out in the 4 circles. And then everything around you in a very quantum way is going to start to evolve and revolve. Another R, revolve around you. And you're going to see these outer external R's, we'll talk about them at the end, how they're going to come together. Carol Jean, what do you want to add to that?
In that renew, I mean, what we're really doing in the diagnostic is just the beginning. And it's just looking at those surface levels, sort of like the shell on the egg, right? What's your stress profile? How are you showing up? Are you an empowered explorer, resilient warrior? How do you naturally respond to stress? And then how does the way that you interpret and respond to stress then ripple out in how you address everything in your life. So how much complexity has the stress response that you have created in your life? How much complexity and chaos versus simplicity and streamlined alignment is occurring? And where we're looking at Renew, those are all the things that just get us to the start. They're just the shell of the egg, but we're going to crack that egg in the most loving way. And when we get to the inside, we're going to look at the true drivers, the real why. And that is, I feel safe in who I am. I feel enough and lovable and worthy who I am. And the things that drive that, I feel internally, I feel safe with whatever emotions I'm feeling, the good ones, the ones I'm not sure what they are, but my body's feeling them and they feel really big.
Yeah.
But no matter what it is, I'm not avoiding it anymore. I'm allowing it. And that place of self-trust, that's really where this begins to take root and bloom, and you get to reclaim it. Because I mentioned it's age 4 where so much of this begins getting disrupted. And we grew up hearing, why are you doing it that way? No, that's not how we do it. Color inside the lines. Don't color outside the lines. That's messy. That's not right. Why are you crying? It can't hurt that bad. Suck it up, Buttercup. We get so many of these, and they're not meant to hurt us. You know, these things are said to us because sometimes that's what was said to the person saying it. But what happens is we begin to go, oh, I can't trust my own experience. I can't trust my own decisions because I'm being told they're wrong. They're weird. They're not right. And that doesn't feel safe because I want to belong. So everything becomes external and we begin operating in an external way. And in order to really restore and renew, we've got to get to what's deep, what's true, what was misaligned that we can realign today with clarity, with intention, with compassionate curiosity, and with grace for where we are. Because that is where it moves into, I not only feel like I belong with at least one person in the world, but I feel finally like I belong here, me as myself in this embodiment. I feel like I am truly being able to be true and authentic with myself. I'm telling myself the truth about me, not some version I think somebody wants to hear or that I feel is going to keep me safe. I have order, structure, predictability in my internal environment and my external environment. And ultimately, I have play, joy, and laughter in my life with just how I experience the world. And that renewal, that restoration is what Michelle and I are bringing in this intensive. Because there's some things that disrupt it, that not just crack our shell with gentle kindness to get the nice yolk out, it slams the poor egg on the ground and scrambles it. And that's our risk. Because each element of our humanity has a shadow side, a risk side. And we're going to be able to pull those in with clarity through your diagnostics. And we're also looking at the reward. Because, hey, we got to have a dopamine hit. We want that joy, that play, that laughter. The reward of alignment is feeling like you finally stand in radiant strength and groundedness as the woman you are, even in the messy. And I call it the messy magical middle. Because those are the beautiful things that we begin to see, because the reward is not also how we feel, but a lot of times it's how the world starts to respond differently to us. They see us differently. Michelle?
Oh, and that's where the rewards really start to come in, because your voice, you're using all of your superpowers to attract in those rewards, the people that see your value, that want to work with you, whether it's a client, a new employee. People are going to come and exit your life because of that. And that is going to be equally a reward. what gave me just a moment of clarity there that you were talking about is like in this whole process, we forgot who we can possibly be, right? And so even the first sentence of my book is I don't want to do this anymore. And it was this moment of like, I forgot to include play, joy, and laughter in the process. In fact, when I tried to do play, joy, and laughter, I was mocked. I was ridiculed. I was made fun of. I was gaslit. Holy crap. Well, that teaches you that that's not the kind of leader that that company wanted. That hurts. That feels personal. Right. And so just, I had so many tingles there when you were talking about that. And then what we want to do in the last 2 hours on the outside is give you the resources that you need, right? The resources and, almost that recognition together. Because when we're giving you your human design, you now have a lifetime resource of your blueprint, your wellness, your well being. You have these 2 blueprints. They will not change. It is who you are at the cellular level. You have that for life. Right? It's not like, oh, I'm going to take this assessment later and it's going to change. No, my friend, it doesn't. It just activates at different cycles of your life. And we're going to give you that too. I'm going to tell you what your Chiron cycle is in your 50s, how that's activated, what that looks like, whether you're 50 or not 50. There's so much beauty in knowing that these are resources, what to look forward to. What kind of, I call them blessings, right? A lesson and a blessing wrapped in. What do you need to get those resources? And then lastly, through all of this, you're going to start getting the recognition for your zone of genius. And who doesn't want to be recognized, right? Especially as a projector, when you're not recognized, you go into bitterness, you go into your not self. When you're a generator that's not recognized, you don't have that spark that lights you up inside. You start getting really frustrated. You start feeling like, why is everybody against me? Every type has a different way they need to be recognized. And when you know yours, there is so much power in not only recognition from others, but recognizing yourself and being like, this is my superpower. This is how I'm showing up. And not in a defiant moment of take it or leave it, right? No fingers given. In a way of calm power. This is me. This is how I show up. And it also helps you set really beautiful boundaries so that you don't get to that burnout, so that place where your only option is to walk away. And that was the point that I got to. So let us wrap it up, Carol Jean, because I think we covered the internal 4 hours and then also the external vision of how others are going to see you is equally beautiful in this process. That's why we call it truly a transformation.
Oh, 1000%. So who is this for exactly?
Oh my God.
Just to layer mine in real quick, I am a 5-2 generator. And that means that I respond to if you say something and you ask a question, I'm going to respond to that, but I'm not going to always initiate. And Michelle mentioned the Chiron. So I'm 51. I am in my Chiron. And as a Chiron, that layer came in as a 5-1 projector. So I'm also there with that invitation piece. But it's interesting. We're going to talk about this, but my core as a 5-2 generator is when everything is in alignment, I feel satisfaction. And I called it contentment early on. I for the first time in my life, when I got aligned, I felt contentment. And it was this peace and this internal opening like I'd never experienced before. And I knew what my not self was, which was when things were misaligned, I was frustrated as all get out. Frustrated so much. And so when we talk about these things, we're really going to align these so much more. But if you've been feeling those frustration, you've been feeling some bitterness, you're feeling some anger or some complacency in there, that might be something calling to you. Who's this for, Michelle?
It is for everybody that feels that tingle in their soul right now. That curiosity to learn more, that lean in moment of, they're using words I don't fully think I've thought about before, because that was how I got curious about human design. I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean I wait for invitation? Hold on. I have never heard that. That sounds like crap. And then when you start to learn it, you're like, oh, the unlocks, the unfolding. So it is for people that are ready to level up. It is for executive women. It is for entrepreneurs. It is for people that are ready to take their full leadership potential and show up as their whole self. If you are about to go into some big leadership, yeah, Chiron is Chiron. Yeah, Carrie. It is oh my God, I have a class coming up. I will send you the info. It's a class just on Chiron, a little teaser. It's freaking amazing. I almost swore. It's amazing. And it is this beautiful activation. So it's for people that are like that hear Chiron and go, wait a minute, I'm almost 50. I want to know more, right? It is for you. It is for the person that goes, okay, there's more I want to learn here. And we'll show you how to do that. We have plenty of ways to work with us. And it's for that person that's feeling that curiosity, that high performer, that leader. And if you are about to go to a very big high ticket performance, something or other, whatever big ticket item you're about, you just got into Wharton, your company is paying for you to go to this retreat, you just did all the things, do this before, because you will get so much more out of that as well. If you're going on a retreat in February, do this before. Not only will you just feel like a new version of yourself at the place, at the retreat, at the event, everybody else will want to know, why are you so alive? Like, you are going to be magnetic to people at that conference, at that thing you're at. And then you're going to say, oh, do you know your human design? Oh, do you know your well-being blueprint? Right? Those are going to be things that until today, you may not have known existed. You didn't know those resources were available. So what do you want to add to that, Carol Jean? Because I just think it's for everybody on this call and who's watching that has that spark of, okay, I want to learn more. I don't know what human design is. You're using things that I feel like I want to learn more. That is who this is for right now.
The only other thing I would add to that is this is for the leader who is standing in this moment, sitting here right now, and you have this tremendous legacy level leadership vision. You have this huge growth place that you want to attain. You want to reach it, not just for yourself. You want to reach it for those on your team, for those in your life. You're not just grabbing the next, set of golden handcuffs. You truly have a greater vision, not just for today, but for the next 7 generations. You're looking to impact on a larger scale. This is for you. We have some important dates and would love to share with you what this investment is.
Yeah.
The Leadership Performance Intensive is an application and it opens today. We have 11 seats available, 11 spots for women, because this is truly very customized, very high touch. And because of that, we have made this very intimate. It is a total investment of $7,770. And you can pay in full and save $500, or you can reserve your seat with a deposit today, because we know we're moving into the holidays. You may not want to tie up, your bonus or any of those other things, and it might be better to do it. You want to do it on the 2026 book. That's totally fine. We're good with that. No matter whether you pay in full and you save that $500, or you go ahead and reserve your seat with a deposit, the deadline to apply and to get that in is December 31st. We will have a live Q&A session on December 30th at 11 o'clock where we'll answer more questions. We'll go in depth. Michelle and I will be there as long as you have a question and still need an answer on something around the program, and to really maybe just feel it out a little more to see if it's right for you. But we have some other things to do that along the way, because we want to give you this full experience. We want you to know what it's like to work with us, because this is, like we said, we're not doing it. We're not sending you 900 emails and we're not posting 500 things on social media. We want to have a conversation. We want to get in the room. We want to talk to you specifically. So Michelle, share how people can join us.
So I know we only have like 2 minutes left, but we want you to experience our energy. We want you to get a taste of, we're going to give you so much insight in these 3 Friday sessions. So every Friday, December 5th, starting tomorrow, the 12th and the 19th, we're going to break down nuggets of what this is so that you can get a taste of it. What does this mean? We're going to give you information. Always, my charts are free on myvibehumandesign.com. And so you're going to start to play in these zones And you will know if you want to go deeper, if you want to know your personal insight. Because when you get in these rooms with Carol Jean and I, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I learned so much. So please come. Absolutely. You are going to learn so much in these sessions. And the LPI is for people that go, I'm in. How do I learn more? But just about me. Like enough of everybody else. I'm all in. I want to go deeper. That is what you're going to find out in these 3 Friday sessions that we are so excited to invite you to, because in our world, there is no bait and switch. There is no smoke and mirrors. We are the real deal. We may be the real deal for you. We may not. That's okay. We want you to come in and experience us live on those 3 Fridays, because we want the right aligned people that are ready to go deeper. I've had people in my human design classes say, Michelle, I'm all in. What's the next step? And I was like, I'll get back to you. Today's the day. I know the next freaking step. And it is so beautiful. And I cannot wait to see more of you in the sessions, and also who this lights up inside that wants to go in that next VIP level.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody, and make sure we pop that link in the chat.
Yeah,
We would
absolutely.
be so honored to walk with you into the next era of legacy leadership. So if you have a question about fit or clarity, please reach out to Michelle or I. We love to chat. We would love to answer any questions you have. We're not high pressure salespeople. That's not what we do. We're here to support aligned decisions, not pressure ones. Thanks for being here today. And we look forward to seeing you in our leadership stress profile session tomorrow at 11 a.m. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
See everyone.